Shana Tova. You've heard, I'm sure, the old joke about Jewish holidays. They tried to kill us, we won, let's eat. Yes, it does seem that sometimes our celebrations are brief moments celebrating our survival, followed by famously grand feasts. Each holiday has its specialties, just as each of us have inherited certain flavors from the places and people from whom we are descended. I know it's not at all fair for a rabbi to speak about food on Yom Kippur. But the fast day we mark on this day was never meant to be a punishment. In fact, our tradition teaches us that the reason for our fast on Yom Kippur centers on the need to focus on the solemnity of the day. While we will feel the pangs of fasting throughout the day, the hungers we feel as a community call us with a piercing cry. In our midst, we can see and feel the hunger felt by those who struggle to place food on the table. Even more, the hunger of spirit so many of us and so many of our friends feel leaves an equally empty feeling. And look in any direction in our community, our city, our country, and you will see and hear and feel a hunger for hope. The real human need for food, the stirring sense of striving for a higher level of spirit, and the overwhelming need for hope in troubled times speak to us anew on this Day of Atonement. Recognizing our hungers constitutes the first step towards resolution. Together we have the ability to craft solutions to our struggles. Today, we must summon the courage to respond. Our congregation in particular comprehends well the plague of hunger. For nearly 2 decades, we have supported a food pantry tasked with helping those in need. Lovingly coordinated by Ernie and Sue Wass, our Temple Concord pantry shines as a beacon of light and kindness to those most in need. Week in and week out, individual members of our community enter the temple in search of nourishment and exit not just with foodstuffs, but also a heaping helping of Gmilut Chasadim, loving kindness. Each Friday, as I sit in my study preparing for Shabbat, I see people arriving in the temple parking lot with heads hung low. Each week, I see people leaving with arms filled with food and faces filled with gratitude. I see the smiles pass from the faces of Ernie and Sue Wass to the clients who use our pantry. I see the volunteers give of themselves to make life a little better for complete strangers. Making the food pantry a central part of our congregational identity highlights our commitment to helping those in need. Together, we have established a reputation as a community of givers, a people concerned with the less fortunate, as a community committed to reaching out to those in need. And while we have accomplished much to alleviate hunger in our community, much more remains to be done. Many of those who use our temple's pantry fall between the cracks in our society. Few are repeat customers. Many work. Some hit rough patches between jobs. Some use the pantry to avoid using government assistance, and many use the pantry in addition to seeking food stamps or other help. Among the lessons that I have learned is the realization that while the government can help, the amount available hardly covers the need. In February, a group of local clergy leaders will be highlighting this problem in society. I am leading a group of interfaith clergy in taking the food stamp challenge. For 1 week, we will live on the amount of money provided via food stamps. Currently, that amount is $4 a day, which equals $28 for a whole week. Most of us are willing to spend $28 for 1 or 2 meals. Imagine a whole week on that small sum. As we undertake the food stamp challenge, we will share our week very publicly so that others can see the challenges faced by the less fortunate in our society. We are participating in the food stamp challenge to give an open and unified face to the challenges facing the working poor in our community. If you would like to join this important effort, just let me know. Together we can take a stand for those who need louder voices speaking out, and we will continue our temple's commitment to alleviating hunger in our community. The physical hunger for food, while pressing, does not represent the entirety of our hungers. We live in times when organized religion is sliding in its significance in society. The fastest growing branch of faith in America today is the one known as SBNR, spiritual but not religious. So many of us seek to infuse our lives with spirituality, but fail to find that power and comfort in synagogues. Younger generations see the temple not as an obligation, but rather as an option, another piece of our consumerist lives. We who are connected to houses of worship must address this hunger for spirituality, and we are called this Yom Kippur to create new outlets for spiritual exploration and growth. The hunger for spirit stands as a key motivator in much of what we do at the temple. Page through our new program guide, and you will see conversations and concerts, cinema and classes, and more, all aimed at feeding our spirits. The creation of a weekly adult education program. Yes, every Tuesday night the temple will host some sort of adult education event, provides a beginning response to the hunger of the Spirit. This January, 35 members of the temple family will travel together on a mission to the Jewish community of Cuba. We will reach out to the small but vibrant Jewish community there with needed medical and educational supplies. And in doing so, we hope to nurture the spiritual lives of our Cuban cousins. The impetus for this mission was the need to address spiritual hunger, theirs and ours. In reaching out to an underserved population, we can strengthen our own connections to faith, foster our own growth as well as the growth of others, and build new bonds between ourselves and between our two communities. Our spiritual hunger will also find nourishment on Shabbat throughout the year. We will welcome our Ruach band to lead us in worship quarterly. Jim Brule will lead an uplifting renewal service called Shabbat Chadash every 6 weeks or so, and we will continue to explore new prayers, new melodies, new ways to connect with the Almighty and with each other. The spiritual hunger of our age will be best met, though, not by programs or services. Instead, we will feel sated when we have created a community in which all are welcomed, all are encouraged, all are embraced, all are valued, all are learning and doing and growing. And in creating and sustaining this new kind of community, we will move beyond the physical and spiritual hungers we face and begin to address the pervasive hunger for hope, so present and persistent in our world. Throughout history, humans have endured times of hope and times of despair. In every age, we have encountered moments of basking in the glow of goodness, and we have suffered through long gray days and even longer nights of cynicism, selfishness, and suspicion. We Jews know better than most the realities of such a fearful existence. Even more, we know the acute importance of fostering hope and optimism. In our nation today, the divide between the haves and the have-nots is growing, not shrinking. Those who were once the working class, the laborers who put in long days building this nation with their own two hands, have been replaced, the jobs shipped overseas. Even our neighborhoods reflect this new understanding. Go to an older neighborhood and you'll see homes with big front porches, neighborhood parks, places for people to interact. And then go to a new neighborhood and notice the absence of all of these features. New neighborhoods are filled with houses with opulent backyards, but no way to interact with one's neighbors. No wonder we trust less than our parents and grandparents did. We barely know our neighbors. We have created a society lacking hope. In our quest to have more, we have forgotten how much we actually have. If we are to respond to the hunger for hope we all feel, we must begin by reaching out. Hope comes when we encounter the unexpected kindness, when we see smiles instead of frowns, when we take risks to connect with others. Hope comes when we look around a crowded room and make the challenging and necessary decision to speak with complete strangers, when we find the willingness to open up to someone or something new. We have the ability to respond to the hunger for hope so common today. We, each of us gathered here this morning, can, with the simplest of actions, turn toward another and offer uplifting kindness. Just as our congregation decided decades ago to address the lack of food for those in need, and just as we have embarked on a new path to alleviate spiritual hunger, so too can we decide to respond to the pangs of hungering for hope. Our Torah portion on Yom Kippur reminds us that these goals are not out of reach. Lo b'shamayim hi v'lo me'aver layam. These things are not up in the heavens or beyond the seas. Rather, teaches our Torah, ki karov alecha hadavar me'od b'ficha u'levavacha la'asoto. These things are very close to us, in our mouths and in our hearts to do them. We are called today to respond to the needs we see around us. These lofty goals do not reside in heaven, in some unreachable place. Rather, they are in our midst. The hungers for sustenance, spirituality, and hope are not unsolvable problems. We are capable of responding. We are capable of rising up and acting. We are capable of easing the hungers of society. Our world cries out. Yom Kippur beckons. Will we hear the shofar blast? And will we respond?